Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be with you. We talked about us in history, our reality as individuals and dealing with history, and we need to get the big picture, of course. We need to understand the meaning of this history, the direction of history, and in which way we are involved in this history as individuals, but also as families and as communities and as nations. So what we did previously is to talk about us as individuals and the way we have to get this harmony within our own intimate diversity, because this is the reality of it. We have to deal with this in order to be able in our time, in our society, to be at peace with our own self. And the second concentric circle was with our family, and in which way we have to deal with our father and our mother, our children, and in which way this is the first space of socialization that we need to manage in order to fulfill or to achieve the right education and helping us to be critical, to be open, to be able to interact with our fellow human beings. Now, beyond this is our attitude, our reality within our own society and beyond our society with other nations, other cultures, other communities. And this is the third concentric cycle that we need to deal with today. And for this, it's important to remember that the principle of being or belonging to one humanity means that we have to consider our fellow human being as equal, and he or she has the same rights as we have, and that we have to struggle to help them to get them. This principle of justice for us and beyond us and within the society is in Islam based on two main principles that we find in two different verses that we have to try to understand in order to know how to deal with our fellow human beings in a situation where, as an individual, we have to interact. It's the natural life. We are not on our own on an island and we don't know how to deal with the world. We have to deal with our fellow human beings. What do we find in the Quran? بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. You remember what we said about time and that people were corrupting the earth. Here it's إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات, except those who believe and do righteous deeds. This verse that we find many times in the Quran is setting a principle that as a human being believing in God and connected to God and connected to the revelation, our faith has a visible side, and the visible side is our good deeds. This is, and to be righteous and to be dignified and to stick to principles in our life. Once again, it's an intimate struggle, as we said when we talked about our reality as individuals. So we have these intimate struggles, but the reality, the visibility of our faith should be based on this commitment to right. This is one. So as a human being within our society and dealing with any human being on earth, whatever the color, whatever the status, whatever the origin, whatever the religion, that's a principle. Second, what we find in the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين. As for those who have not fought you against you for your religion, nor expelled you from your homes, God does not prohibit you from dealing with them with kindly and equitably. God loves the equitable. Here, what we find as a principle, again, this is the second principle of us as human beings, that we are dealing with other nations. It's not about war, it's not about battles, it's not about rejection, it's about not only pacific coexistence, it's positive coexistence. And the positive coexistence is you are here to help me to be better. You are here to challenge me in order I can compete with you in good deeds. That's the reality of diversity we talked about already. So with this, what the Quran is telling us, what we got from Allah, is that there is no prohibition in such a situation just to show, not only to be kind, because antabarruhum has something which has to do with affection, with love, with friendship, that you have to be to show this friendship, to share this friendship with the people. It's a question of heart here. So your heart should be open to your fellow human beings. It's not, you are a Muslim, you are my friend. You are not a Muslim, I'm going to fight you. That's not the way. That's not even, the mindset that is behind this. It's just problematic. That you just look at the people and say, you are a Muslim, you are from my people, and then I'm going to consider you as a potential enemy if you are not a Muslim. That's not what we have in the verse here. As a principle, as long as they are not fighting you because of your religion, they are not asking you to leave home and to go outside and to go to exile, this is where you can have this affection. And the second principle that you have here, it's antabarrum wa tuqsitu ilayhim, that you have to be just and equitable. If you look at these two, affectionate and equitable and just, is the two dimensions. One has to do with your own emotion. It's just be open with your heart. And the second is check your mind. You have to be just. You have to deal with them according to the principles that were revealed to you. It has to do with equal dignity. It has to do with freedom. It has to do with no compulsion. It has to do with the potentialities that the people want to have just to develop themselves and to be able to live their life as they want. This is what you have to provide them with. So here, heart and mind again. And when it comes to the relationship that we need to have with the people around us, we have two other verses that are translating these two principles into the reality of our life. And we find in the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين إن يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله أولى بهما فلا تتبعوا الهوى أن تعدلوا. O you who believe, stand firmly for justice as witnesses to God, even if it's against yourselves or your parents or your relatives, whether one is rich or poor. God takes care of both, or have precedence of both, so do not follow your desires or your instincts lets you swerve. Here, what we have, and this verse again is full of teachings. We don't have time to look at all of them, but there are some teachings that we need to keep here. Is that Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, it's that who you believe stand firmly for justice. So this is with your mind. You have to stand for justice as witnesses to God. So in the name of your faith, check your mind, check your intellect, check the way you deal with yourself and with people, to the point that if it's against yourself or your parents or your relatives or the people who are rich and poor. Why? Because within the society, you might just be quite nice with the people who are rich, and you are strong and tough with the people who are poor. You can even be more like this with your parents, with yourself, just accepting and showing complacency towards yourself and your family, and being very tough with others. The Quran is telling you that's not the way. In the name of your faith, as you have to stand firmly for justice, and this is as witnesses to God, you have to check your mind. So it has here to do with your mind, and what is ending here is do not follow your desires, do not follow your instincts. So check your emotions, because your emotion can push you to do exactly the opposite, to be tough with others and very, very complacent, or very, very nice or kind with yourself. That's not acceptable. The second verse that is almost very similar, but with another teaching that we need to also get here, is بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين لله شهداء بالقسط ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. O you who believe, be upright to God, witnessing for justice, and let not the hatred of certain people prevent you from acting justly. Adhere to justice, for that is nearer to reverential love, to piety, and fear God, God is informed of what you do. Here we have a verse starting now, be upright to God, witnessing for justice, as witnesses to justice. So in the name of your faith and witnesses to justice, what do you have to do is now it's with your intellect. So what we get in this verse is your faith in God, that you believe in God, should help your mind to check your emotions to the point that what is said here, let not hatred, your emotion of certain people, prevent you from acting in a just way. We have to get this, that sometimes people are doing things and nations and oppressors and a community and a nation oppressing others to the point that it's hatred. But you have to be just. First, you don't have to essentialize all the people. Not all the people coming from the same community or the same religion or the same society are bad. So you have judgment should be on individuals, not like this collective judgment is by itself, by essence, per se, it's wrong. So you have to avoid this. You have to prevent yourself from doing this, checking your emotion, checking your instincts, checking your desires. So hatred is wrong. Then justice is right. You have to be just, and this is what your faith should impose or helping to nurture in yourself. With your mind, check your emotion in the name of your faith in order to deal with your fellow human beings, with your fellow societies, with other communities and nations on the basis of justice, dignity, equal freedom, equal right, and equal destination. This is the way it is, and this is why our faith in history is to deal with our fellow human beings with justice and dignity, and to be able to serve anybody, even the enemy, in the name of justice if they are wrongly treated, if they are facing oppression, or if they are poor. That's the way our faith is dignifying our presence in history. Don't forget to tell the people you love that you love them. Life is fragile.